The world is going to make you into whatever it desires if you allow it. From the moment we're born, think about it, there's already a system that the society is expecting every human being that comes into the world to fall into, whether that is as to school or anything else. And it's always a function of what is acceptable in your immediate society, which usually will be different if you travel to another society, and which usually will be different again if you go to another society. And don't get me wrong, I really believe in a lot of the rules that society makes for us. I think it just makes sense that we obey our elders, that we do this and we do that, and we're not perpetrating crimes everywhere. A lot of these things make sense, except that when it comes to purpose, I feel like we're all going to end up being the same. We're all driving at the same thing. So the way that I think about it is, instead of allowing us to be persons A, B, C, D, E, F, D, blah, 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 Z, we have everyone advising us to all be Z. And what then happens is that when you're designed to be B, because again, I believe that the manufacturer already knew from the get-go what we were supposed to be and programmed us to be the product that can deliver that. But when we're all trying to be Z, because that's what everyone is advising in the society that we are, if you were to be letter B, for example, the way that I see it is B trying to be Z becomes this. So we're either all going to end up looking the same or we're going to end up looking deformed. So we pay a destructive tax in our conformity with societal expectations. So that's why I think that in this journey of life, we must constantly reflect. I was talking recently about misalignment burnout. If you go down to a few videos away, it was something I had seen in a book. And the way that I like to think about that is you were designed to be a phone, but you're working as a computer. You'll deliver half of the things that a computer will deliver, but you won't be at your max. You will never be at your max. And let's not forget ending up with a face that is not even yours. When I first started my YouTube channel, for example, I remember that I just really wanted to talk, and I know that makes no sense. I had been somewhere where someone had asked me what I love to do, and I said it was just talk, but I didn't give context because the time that we were given didn't allow us to go on and to explain and to get everyone in the room feeling bored. I saw the faces and it was like, what do you mean by talking? But I went ahead to do it anyways. And as soon as I started to do my heart-to-heart, I'm trying to find solutions to things that are not working for me, and then when I manage to find 1, 2, 3 that sound like the truth, especially when I put them to practice and they really give me results, and I want to share it for hope that someone who may be going through the same thing that I've just managed to come out of will find the information and be able to put it to their lives. Someone said to me, who's going to listen to somebody that nobody knows? And so they advised me, start by sharing something that you know still that people are more likely to want to hear. And that sounds like a good advice, except that I accidentally became a skincare influencer. I don't want to say that it was an accident because I actually still consider myself somebody who loves to talk about beauty stuff. It's what I practice in real life. But when I set out, it wasn't really what I set out to do. It just happened that I also was struggling with acne and trying to find solutions, which if you think about it is the same thing that I set out to do, except that it was really a heart-to-heart like I'm having now with human beings who may be wondering, Jesus Christ, what's happening to me? Where has my life gone? What is the world making me into? My emotions are no longer guarded. My this and my that and my what I would have loved to do is not what I'm doing. Same thing, except that I was now doing that with products. And we can all take a second to think about it right now. Am I really doing what I want to do because this is what I want to do? Or have I somehow blended into what society has imposed on me? Sometimes even people in authority that we really respect from a place of love, but it's the type of thing that Dr. Myles Munroe of blessed memory would describe as dream killing in the name of love. But the truth that is on the other side of having those conversations with ourselves is so beautiful. It's like a scale just comes off your face. And so we find that this chaotic situation that society has put us in is one that when people break out of, or when people, for lack of better words, rebel against, and I'm not talking about being unruly or being inappropriate or being disrespectful or just generally being rude. I'm talking about just as to ideals, as to visions, as to paths to trail. When someone breaks out against the norm, somebody has an eyebrow to raise, somebody has a That's not how you should be to advise, as though we're expected to take on all these ideals without criticisms, or at the very least, reflections like, is this really my craft that I'm finding, or am I accidentally falling into something that isn't even me? You get that? Don't be unrealistic, don't be inappropriate. Again, not me. Dr. Myles Munroe says they are dream killers. If you're still watching and you've not subscribed, can I ask why? Do you know what you're doing? You're going to tell the platform, YouTube, wherever you're watching from, that you don't like this content and that it's shitty, and they are not going to recommend it to anyone. But if you like, subscribe, you share, then they know that maybe there's a thing or two that people may like, and then they can suggest it to more people. So do what's right. Please do what's right. Please do what's right. Please. Sorry to interrupt your video. Bye. And a part of me really empathizes with people who have such mindsets, because I think it's just that they're unfamiliar with the approach that people are taking, especially new generation people. It's unfamiliar, and naturally you question things that are not familiar. And many times, again, they're probably doing it from a place of love and in the beat to guide you, which I think is a very beautiful thing for elders to do to younger people, because there's a lot of wisdom packed into them, years of experience that they can just share with you so that you don't have to repeat the same mistake. But never as to purpose, because the purpose of a thing is usually built into that product by the manufacturer himself. He knows what to do with it, he knows what to make of you, and it will be an anomaly to do something else. And I'll explain to you how this made more sense to me. My telephone is, for example, designed to do a lot of things, including making calls, text messages, etc., browsing the internet if I want, all that type of stuff. If I wanted to make this a computer, or if I wanted to do things that you would normally need a computer to do, with this phone, it probably can still do that. But however highly performing my phone is as a computer, it would still not live up to 80% of its prospect, because the manufacturer designed this to be a phone, and so the 100% that the manufacturer gave it to be a highly performing phone, it wouldn't even be scratching 20% of. And that's what people do, I think, when they force people to conform into the ideals that society wants them to be. You have to be a doctor, you have to be a lawyer. I don't hate the profession, I'm a lawyer, and I really, really love being a lawyer. I enjoy being in court, I enjoy drafting briefs, etc., all that type of stuff I really, really love. But some people don't. But society just wants them to absolutely be that. Again, a phone performing as a computer, however highly performing it is, will underperform. It probably won't scratch 20% of what it was designed to do. The manufacturer put 100% of its performance or its building, including power and strength and design and look, into it functioning as a phone. Zero effort into making it to function as a computer. Same thing with purpose. And that also suggests to me that the carrier of a purpose determines how much of it is manifested. Because if you know deep down that you were designed to be a phone, and you allow people teach you to be a computer, or allow people make you function as a computer 1 time and 2 times and 3 times, and now functioning as a computer is all that you've done in the last couple of years or your whole life, that's on you. Respectfully, that's on you. And that's why I really love this quote by Ralph W. Emerson. It says, "I must be myself. I cannot break myself any longer for you. If you love me for what I am, we shall be the happier. If you cannot, I still seek to deserve that you should." He believed that to flourish at all, you must be a non-conformist. And while I agree to a degree, I don't think you have to be non-conforming in your entirety, but I just think that as to purpose, as to ideals, again, the things that we've talked about, that's my interpretation of being a non-conformist. It's just like a popular saying. I don't know where I picked it up from, but I think it's something that people say in general. I'd rather be hated for what I am than be loved for who I'm not. In other words, I'd rather behave in a manner that aligns with my vision of me than surrender to your idea of what I should be. Important question, and I think I asked this as well in my last video when I was talking about making time for the things that really matter to you. Who has the right of call in this walk of life? Who has the right of call over your life? I'm Christian, so my hierarchy would be God, then me. Me being the number 1 human being, God being the number 1 spirit. And so if you're not somebody who believes in God, that leaves your hierarchy to start with you. You choose, you determine, you object to, you call the shots when your life is involved. And as I wrap up, I'd just like to share a few pointers I learned from the preaching by Dr. Myles Munroe. For anyone who may be feeling like they're too much in the mix of life and too much in the mix of what needs to be catered to versus what they truly want to do, to be able to even get onto the path or the journey of purpose, or even figuring that out, or even chasing it or anything like that. First tip, it must come from inside of you. Not from what people suggest, not from what people impose. Is what do you enjoy? What gives you fulfillment? And let's not forget that in all of this, passion can always be turned into money. Maybe not always, but in more cases than not, it just may not give you as much money as the business ideals. But passion usually will be able to feed you and give you a nice life, something that you're happy with. Again, it depends on what you want. Would you rather be fulfilled or be rich? Or can you have both? And to what degree can you sacrifice which? So it must come from within if you're somebody who's looking to chase purpose. Again, what do you enjoy? What brings you joy? What makes you feel fulfilled? What do you naturally excel at? What would you rather be doing? What do you, on the other side, struggle with or don't enjoy at all, even though everyone else praises it? And let me tell you, that traffic that you're complaining about when you're going to work on Monday morning is not really about the traffic. It's not about the traffic. Sometimes it's just because there's no joy where you're headed. By the way, I'm going to link somewhere in the description. I made a video recently on how to be productive at something that you hate but have to do, because in the middle of all of these talks, we know that sometimes we have to do things that we don't particularly enjoy because it's just the season for it. But bear in mind the purpose. Please never trade your purpose for what you need to do. That's the idea behind being a non-conformist. Number 2, he suggests to try things out, and that may involve digging into your childhood to, for example, find things that you used to really love that you don't even remember how to do, or that you don't even remember how to love anymore. And I think that you will always find a constant. In my case, for example, I've always been speaking. I had the privilege to read the news when I was just under the age of 14, I believe, when I started reading the news. I worked at the radio when I got into university because I was done with secondary school around like 14-ish. I got into uni. While in uni, I was working at the radio. So I've always been speaking. I was always called to do impromptu speeches and debates and whatever. Now, even though it looks like I'm making YouTube videos and I'm trying to do heart-to-heart conversations, I always say to myself, what's the constant Yewande speaking? Yewande is always speaking, especially when she gets comfortable with the person. Here, it's just me and my camera and whoever is watching. So I'm comfortable to the bones. But in real life, I have to get comfortable with the person to be able to have heart-to-heart conversations like this. So even though with me, it's the communication of thoughts, emotions, perspectives, etc., with you, it'll be something. It can be the same thing or it can be something else, but there usually would always be a constant when you dig into your childhood from then till now that has remained you. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope that this video helps you as much as it helps me. I always go back to my notes, I always go back to my videos, because sometimes we forget how to be us. Sometimes we forget how to love upon us and how to love upon our journeys, and that's why I write my life. I document almost everything so that I have something to reference, and I really hope that this helps you as much as it helps me when I forget myself. Don't forget to subscribe. Please leave a like, leave a comment, because again, what's the reason? If you don't, the platform thinks that you hate this video. They think nobody's interested in it, and so they're not going to suggest it to more people. But if you do, then they get the notion that somebody likes it and will suggest it to more people. Thank you so much. I'll catch you in my next video. Bye-bye.